Hey everyone, Michael coming at you again here on the Archangel 15. I have an extra special presentation for you today. I'm at the Space Museum in Moscow, Russia. I've talked many times in past presentations about how I believe the moon landing was fake, and there's overwhelming supporting evidence for this, and that it actually perpetuates one of the biggest lies and scams in the entire history of the world, for that matter. I ideally wanted to find somebody to interview personally from the museum. I'm not able to find anybody that speaks proficient enough English to make it of any decent entertainment value. So I'm just going to kind of go through my points that I have here and take it for what it's worth. I'm not, a rocket scientist. I'm not a physicist, an astronaut, or any type of aviation or aeronautical expert, for that matter. But hopefully this actually gets posted. I want to note before I do this that Sergey Brin, the founder of Google, his mom worked for NASA. And like I've always said, the famous Ted Gunderson quote many times, you follow the money and look for the lies. And pretty much there's no bigger scam in the history of the American taxpayer than NASA. So just a couple points that I want to bring up right now is, like, number one, when you go into outer space, there's no magnetic north. There's no, you cannot use a compass for navigation. You're pretty much completely in the dark. I want you to take notice here to the very high level of technology the Russians have implied into much of their space stuff. I really believe that if anybody could have done it, they would have done it by many years ago. I've tried, like I said, talking to people here. Most people agree with me. Some actually do believe it happened. I believe that there's, deeper agendas to basically manipulate the taxpayers and other politically motivated interests. You take countries that are very suppressed financially and you give them some money and maybe add in some other things, and they'll go along with perpetuating this type of a non-essential lie. So another point of interest that I want to bring up is the satellites. Like in 1969, there was nowhere near the technology that we have today for communicating back and forth. So essentially, when the world would have been turned away from Cape Canaveral or Houston, there would have been no possible way for the United States to actually have communication with this craft or with the Apollo space shuttle, and they would have been in the dark completely. To my knowledge, there's not Sweden or Germany or Russia or anybody that's willing to go along with this lie. That's the canary in the coal mines right there. Find another country that was letting the United States use communications equipment, and nobody would have done it or wanted to go with it. The Germans have been very outspoken against this for many years, and other people as well. I'm going to keep walking through here. Really cool place. And there's where there's one lie, there's many. And I want to bring up the famous thing by Stanley Kubrick. I don't know if many of you have heard this or not, but essentially the movie The Shining, if you search on YouTube, moon landing debunked The Shining, there's several 6 or 7 undertones that Stanley Kubrick incorporated into that. Stanley Kubrick invented center point photography, and he was a pioneer of a specific this method of photography that if you see any of it, right away that it was him. And if you look at the moon landing, it's completely 110% shot in center point photography. Stanley Kubrick, I personally believe, was killed he didn't even get to see the release of Eyes Wide Shut. There was probably stuff that they cut out of that movie. He was exposing elite subcultures and the debauchery within the elites, and they offed him for it. He was very, like I said, outspoken on various topics, and he moved, I think, from the United States to the UK because he had such a disdain for the United States government. He was a fellow Ashkenazi, Russian, Jewish, native. I don't think he was from Russia, but he was from that same bloodline as myself. And it was supposedly shot in the basement of Walt Disney World. Like it's very, very known that there's other people that have debunked many other things about like the flag standing and like the footprints, and I'm not going to get too deep into that. But up until this point, I actually like JFK. I really believe JFK was an amazing president. But if this is actually true, imagine how much of a disdain and hatred like countries like Russia and Germany and other countries that actually have their stuff together and don't defraud their taxpayers, would have had an issue with this. It's obviously purely out of spite that this was done to essentially perpetuate this rivalry with Russia. And again, like I said, I truly believe the Russians would have done it if they could have. This is trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that we're talking about. What did this money go for? Personally, I believe it went for maybe like they were using the rocketry for nuclear missiles. I really believe a lot of it was for deep underground military bases and human cloning programs, like totally human cloning programs. But even deeper than that, what it really was, folks, was a reason for basically people that like rich kids that wanted to like make it look like they had something to do or make it look like they had a job. And they didn't want to go basically work for the government or like say that they were in the United States Air Force, United States Army, because if they went on their European vacations, that wouldn't look too good in the eyes of the world. So I really believe that, like they had to create NASA, and it was like almost like its own industry in and of itself. And like I said, just to back up again, so no magnetic north in outer space whatsoever. No, like you'd be completely in the dark. 1969, they did not have the satellites. To my knowledge, there's no country that's willing to go on public record saying that they actually helped the United States, or like I said, when the Earth was turned the other direction, that they would have been able to do this. So, like I said, this is taught in schools all around the world, and I really believe Kubrick was onto something, and maybe they killed him off because they were afraid that when he got older, in his older years, that he would have spoke about this and other things. And I'm very sorry that I don't have, like I said, somebody to interview for you. I've asked numerous people, and I have a translator. I speak a little bit of Russian, and like I said, I don't think too many of my viewers are proficient in the Russian language, so I decided to kind of just go with this. But it's about 70-30. Is pretty much the consensus that I get of people that believe that it was fake. If you like go outside of this museum, which is probably funded by NASA, it's even higher than that. Like it's very, very, very deeply personal. If you ever watch the music video, Amerika by Rammstein, good German band, like they kind of like make fun of it there. Many other people have made fun of it as well. And again, I truly believe that if it could have been done, it would have been done by the Russians. They, their technology, in my opinion, is far superior to that of what the United States pretty much has always had. And, take it for what it's worth, but where there's one lie, there's many. And, like the American taxpayer, completely gets defrauded. They say that Russia's, a communist country. I'm not like, I'm not really partial one way or another. I stick by my constitutional rights. But essentially, if you look at the rate that we're all taxed at in the United States, it's probably about 65%, which essentially constitutes communism. Anything over 51% is what I classify as communism. When you add up all the taxes, from property taxes, income taxes, school taxes, gas taxes, corporate taxes, luxury taxes. I mean, you name it, all the way down the line, you're at about 60%, unless you're a very, very wealthy person, which, like I said, you already know that there's an unproportionate tax rate there. So like I said, I'm very regretful that I'm not able to bring you somebody of like some type of higher status, maybe a physics person or something, or like an actual somebody that's worked with the astronauts. But I wanted to share with you my thoughts and actually do a formal video on just this specific subject. I've covered it probably at least 2 or 3 other ones. And if you're still with me, thank you for your time. As always, thanks for stopping in on the Archangel 15. Take care, folks.